Here we
I'm
go.
just here.
Okay, we are live and recording. Welcome to Be Proud. And what this is about is a forum discussion for all of us to talk about and give information to and take information from each other about LGBTQ. And I have two fabulous guest speakers tonight, actually three. And so I'm going to kind of play off Tony Wilkins and my aunt and uncle, Aunt Margie and Uncle John. And Cleo and Erica, thank you so much for being here. I'll bounce you guys in or put your hand up if you want to be a part of the discussion at any point in time. Just raise your hand. Does everybody know how to do a hand raise? Okay. That works too, Uncle John. That works. All right, so we are live and recording, and here is my question. My question for you, Tony, is what is it about this forum that gave you the willingness, and what do you have to offer the LGBTQ conversation?
That's a really general question. Let's see. I have been out since I was 16. I'm 54 years old now.
Did you say 15 or 16, Tony?
No, 16.
16?
That's when I knew I was gay. And during those times, and I suppose it's pretty true now. You didn't really come out if you were black. Certainly not in the 70s and 80s. It just really wasn't done in the black community. You had to sort of keep it under wraps. And so, I'm of an age where, I've sort of lived through the AIDS crisis. I've lived through gay rights struggles, which we're still going through, and which I suspect with the new Supreme Court appointment, we're probably going to have to go through this again. And so when you invited me to be a guest on your show, I said, well, it's not necessarily something I talk about regularly, but I'm sure I can contribute to the conversation. And I'm happy to be here. So,
well, Tony, I'm just so incredibly grateful, one, for your willingness to be a part of this, that you are out loud and proud, and that you are such an incredible, successful man, and all of your isms have nothing to do with you, and that you
should
just
probably tell people what I do.
Well, why don't you tell us? You give us some feedback on what you do, Tony, and blow your own horn. Blow it up.
Well, I do quite a number of things. I'm a public speaker. I'm a little hoarse today because it was a long weekend and I've been doing media interviews all week. So I'm a little hoarse. But I'm a public speaker. I put over 400 speakers a year on stages. I create different speaking opportunities. I'm a best-selling author. I've got, 6-7 books that are out. I've got a new book that's coming out called How to Make Shit Happen. That's really the title of the book, How to Make Shit Happen.
I got that.
I produce and host my own internet radio show. We've got over 250,000 listeners globally. I publish 2 magazines on small business, and I do a bunch of other stuff. I just don't remember what.
Well, I think you need to not sleep as much because you are obviously, slacking over there.
Yeah, I know. I've been told that.
All right. Well, again, welcome. And we're going to get a little bit of information going back and forth between you and my aunt and uncle, and talking about, what it was like then and what it is like now, and how it feels to be the child and what it is like to be the parent. So, Aunt Margie and Uncle John, I'm so honored and grateful that you guys are here. What in the world do you guys have anything to do with LGBTQ?
Should we raise our hand?
Yes, now is the time to raise your hand.
Okay, well, our daughter, we have two daughters, and our oldest daughter came out about 24 years ago. And we felt like we were the cool kids because we had been dealing with um, people, young people, and older people who were out for a long time. And I am a retired professor at Belmont University here in Nashville. And students would come out to me before they came out to their parents because they felt like I was safe. And all that was great until my own daughter came out. And then it felt different. We
Go
never,
figure, huh?
yeah, we never rejected her. But I wept because I knew that she would not be accepted in places that I was automatically accepted because I was straight.
And our first concern really was over her safety.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the primary concern for us. She and her wife and their daughter are fully accepted in the community we live in, and there's never been a hiccup in our family. But we also realized about 9 years ago that in our conservative area of Tennessee, there are still lots of struggles going on. So we joined a group of people who wanted to start a P flag, and I don't know if all of your listeners know what P flag is, but it's originally Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. And we started a chapter in Franklin, Tennessee, which is in the most conservative county in Tennessee. And we started with about 7 or 8 people, and now we regularly have between 30 and 40 people attend. So that's what we have to do.
And we are
Wow.
currently an Episcopal church in Franklin.
Amazing. Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but my dad, your
brother-in-law,
and brother-in-law, he was on the Zoom and was participating and sharing his position and everything. Tony, what was it like for you to hear about my aunt and uncle, that they have just kind of what they've done? What did that feel like to you to be a receiver of that?
I mean, right in the moment, I mean, I have been familiar with P flag for many, many years. And so that's the reason why I say thank you to your aunt and uncle for the work that you put into it, because, you know, the LGBTQ community, we need all the supporters that we can get. We especially need our families and loved ones to be there, particularly during hard times. It can be incredibly frustrating. I have a favorite aunt who I talk to about everything, and she always says, "You never talk to me about the gay stuff." I mean, she knows that I'm gay. She's always been really supportive, but she says, "You never talk to me about the gay stuff." And I'm like, "What do you mean about the gay stuff?" She says, "You never tell me if you're dating anybody or what's really going on." And I said, "I didn't really think you wanted to know that part, but I'm happy to talk to you about it." So when I hear about your aunt and uncle, I think one of the first things that sort of hits me is, you know, we as the children, so to speak, need to go to our parental figures, and we need to say, "Listen, are there any questions you want to know about who I am and what I do, who I love? You know, if I'm dating, is there anything that you want to know?" You know, and I'm happy to answer that. You know, I contrast, I've got relatives who are in Little Rock. My folks are from Memphis and Little Rock, who don't even speak to me. And frankly, I could give a shit. You know, it's the difference between having family and having relatives. It is what it is.
And Aunt Margie and Uncle John grew up in Arkansas as well. So lived in Little Rock. Didn't you guys live in Little Rock?
We did. And John grew up there.
So I would like to hear, like, and I'm going to have you guys come on again, and Tony, you are welcome to come back again and again and again. I'd love for you to be here. But I would like for you, Tony, to tell your story of what it was like coming out, and what, not in the gory detail, but just briefly, and what it was like in relationship to parents, and what you would have liked it to have happened, because I want Aunt Margie and Uncle John to hear from me and from you, so that they can take this information back to the 30 plus parents that they're dealing with. And then I would like to ask you guys, what are you hearing from the parents that we might be able to help with? So go for it, Tony. What was it like?
You gotta remember, not everyone, quote unquote, comes out. I was never really in, my adopted mother came to me one day and she said, listen, I got a question to ask you. And I said, all right. And she said, are you gay? I was 22 years old, I guess. And she said, are you gay? And I said, yes, ma'am, I am. And she said, okay. And, I found out later her biggest concern was, I found this out through my aunt, her sister. She was really worried about me finding anyone and being bullied and what she began to realize, she's no longer with us, but what she began to realize is that I'm pretty good at taking care of myself, I know who I am. I'm pretty opinionated. I don't really care what other people think about me. And, I'm comfortable in my own skin and I make no apologies for who I am. So for me, it wasn't really so much about coming out. It was figuring out who I was, what kind of gay man that I want to be. How do I relate to the LGBT community as well as the Black community? And now a man of a certain age, that also plays into as well. What's dating like? That's a question nobody ever really asked me. So it all sort of comes together and plays into this tapestry of being an LGBT member of the LGBT community, at different stages in your life. So the short answer, never really came out because I was never really in. And I just sort of went out and lived my life. And, if people would have asked me, are you gay? I would say yes. And ironically enough, now when I teach, because I do 8 to 10 speaking gigs a month, now it's a part of my talk, because I think it's important and it's relevant to the subjects that I'm covering. So now I just, look, I'm gay, and if you have a problem, there's the door, I don't care. Whereas before, early in my career, I would just never put it out there. I just, I wasn't ashamed. I just never talked about it. So I don't know if
Tony, it's interesting you say I'm gay, and if you have a problem with it, there's the door. You're a person that speaks and teaches and talks about a lot of these concepts, right? And you're kind of leading with the assumption that people may have a problem with it. I'm surprised you're not saying I'm gay and here's my phone number in case anybody wants a date.
Yeah, I never get that. I am dating now, but I rarely ever get that. But I'll tell you.
Maybe it has something to do with your lead. You might want to lead in with a more positive.
No, and I'll tell you why. Because something that just happened last week really sort of brought me back to center and reminded me that there's still ignorant, stupid assholes out there. Because I was giving a talk, I didn't come out and I didn't say I was gay. That was one of the few times I didn't. And long story short, there was a gentleman who emailed me about one of the programs that I was running. And, he did nothing but complain. I said, listen, if you're, if this isn't right for you, then you should probably go somewhere else. And so the person who booked me before the speaking gig, we were talking, and he said, well, you know, have you gotten any feedback? And I said, yeah, I got this guy, he was a bit of a jerk and that sort of thing, and I sent him the email. So the person spoke with the jerk, and the jerk sent me an email and called me a faggot. Now, that's something I haven't heard in years, right?
Wow.
It's sort of right up there with the N-word, right? So it threw me, because unless you experience it, you don't know what it's like. It's kind of what I tell people. Unless you really understand racism, you can't tell me that I haven't experienced it. You can't tell me that when I hear something that's offensive and I say this is racist or homophobic, you can't tell me I'm being too sensitive. You know it when you hear it, right?
Oh, trust me.
And
Trust me.
so,
I get it. I really do get it, Tony. And I was being playful, and I completely get it. And I'm actually going to make a highlight of that by flipping over to Aunt Margie and Uncle John. What is really still happening in the world? And Santana's on the call as well. And Santana, if you want to say anything, just unmute your phone, and I'll call on you. So, Aunt Margie and Uncle John, what is it like in Franklin as a parent?
Tony, just for a second. Being able to say, if you don't like it, that's your issue, and he goes on about his life. We have lots of folks that come to PFLAG who say, because I am gay or my child is gay, I no longer can go to my church. That's where my community is. Or if I came out, I would lose my job. And it goes on. So there are serious consequences. And I mentioned earlier about safety with Christy. When she found a life partner, we felt so much better. We love her partner very much. So that has been a major breakthrough. So Tony, I don't know if you want to date or what, but finding a partner is really...
Well, I am dating right now. I met someone over Pride weekend, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Awesome.
As a parent, I'll have to say that what you want most in life is for your child to be happy. And when you're in a dating relationship or a loving relationship of any kind, the parent feels good because the child feels good. Other things that are happening in Franklin, Tennessee, we do have pockets of wide acceptance, but there are still pockets where it's dangerous. We have, our PFLAG group is different than any other, and each PFLAG group is its own entity. But we have gay and lesbian people who come. We have young people who come with their parents. We have
trans individuals.
Yes, probably 4 or 5 trans folks who come.
Brothers and sisters come supporting their siblings.
It's a real mixture. But 2 months ago, we had PFLAG participants come who had just helped a young man move out of his apartment because he was beaten severely because he is gay. So that still happens. 2 years ago, we also heard about a young man who, when he was in college, his very, very conservative family, when he came out to them, literally took the Bible and beat him. And then they beat him with their fists, their feet. They kicked him. He was in the hospital for 3 months. So even though that was probably 12 years ago that happened, it's still in our recent history. So in Tennessee, there is more acceptance than ever before.
We just had 20,000 people to attend the Gay Pride weekend. At the same time, we had people from, where were they, from Missouri or someplace?
Yes.
with their microphones telling all of us as we went through the gate that we would be going to hell. And the family that beat up their child were doing this to beat out the demons. You know, so there's a lot of ignorant stuff going on out there.
Wow. Cleo, you have your hand up, and Erica, I think you had your hand up as well. So go ahead, Cleo.
Hi, everyone. My brother, and it's unfortunate he's not on the call right now, but he has shared similar experiences where he's been locked in the bathroom at work, and we're talking a man in his 30s.
Wow.
Where, you know, just
in California, in
California, in Los Angeles,
Wow.
where he gets a lot of that verbal, and to this day, you know, where there's certain situations, and primarily at work, where he's like singled out and pointed out as the gay man, or, oh, you're part of that group, you know, when when they talk about him. And, you know, sometimes I honestly don't even want to hear it. And because I feel so much pain and I feel so helpless that he has to go through these things. And I mean, it's just heartbreaking that I don't think he's ever been physically hurt. No, wait, I think he was once, you know, several times, locked in the bathroom at work. Signage, abuse, and it's just so sad. And thank you so much for sharing those experiences and what you have done. It's truly inspiring. And with these opportunities to speak, I've even talked, I think I mentioned it to Beth, where I feel like, oh my God, I've never done anything. What can I do, you know, outside of my home? So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And Cleo lives with her brother and his partner and her mom and dad and her 3 teenage children.
Wow.
And so they have a full house. And Cleo, I just want to just do one Dr. Beth thing on you. May I? Permission?
Yes.
Okay. I know it's hard to hold, and it's hard to watch, and it's hard to be a part of that. And just giving G and Alex the holding to get to cry in your arms and get to feel sad and get to feel scared and be held by you could be absolutely the greatest gift and more than you can possibly imagine. Just doing that. Doing nothing to... Go ahead, Tony.
Can I piggyback off that? And I'm happy you said that, because when I heard Cleo say, you know, sometimes I just don't want to hear it. That's the one thing that we really don't want to hear. We don't want to, number one, we don't want to feel like we're hurt. But we do want our loved ones to know, listen, we're going through it. We could really use your support. You know, sometimes we don't want you to solve our problems. We just want to share, this is what we're going through. To me, I've got a number of friends who are dealing with cancer. And one of the things that I always tell them is, listen, if you want to talk, I don't care what time it is, you call me, right? I will listen. I'm not here to solve your problems, but I will absolutely give you the support that you need. But you need to tell me exactly what it is you need. When you shut the door on them and you say, I don't even want to hear it. I'm not saying you're doing that. But when you have that mindset, it sort of sends a message that this is not a safe place for me to come to you if I have a problem.
And right, I totally get it. Go, Cleo.
Yeah, no, I totally get it too. And when I say, oh my God, I don't want to hear it, I don't think I've ever told him that. Maybe but my body language, because it hurts so much to hear his experiences. And I'm there bawling, and he's like, oh my God, I didn't mean to. And I'm like, no, it's just so painful that you have to live these things, and that I feel helpless and just the people pleaser big mama that I am. I want to do more, and it's like if what can I do to support you? So yeah, you're right. Just being able to listen and embrace him and say, I'm here for you, or at least I'm here to listen.
You know
Yeah.
what?
And I know, I was just going to say one thing, Tony. And what I know about Cleo is she's like the most, like she's here supporting her brother. I mean, she's been on all of these calls and absolutely loves and adores him and lifts the two of them up 24/7. And so she lets me get away with murder. But let me check in. Let me check in real quick with Erica and then Santana. Erica, did you want to add something?
Hi. I am really appreciating the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm driving.
You're.
Maybe you guys can't hear me, so I'll just let you guys keep going. Thanks so much for letting me tune in.
Awesome. Okay, Santana, give it a try. We'll see if it works on your phone. I'm unmuting you, Santana.
I can hear you. It's cutting in and out. That's all. What were you?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna agree with Erica. I'm loving this conversation, and I would love to join it more. I'm sorry my connectivity is lacking.
Okay. Well, we will bring you in again next week. I think what I've decided to do, Santana, is just keep this going, and as long as people are willing to come and talk and be a part of it, I will be here and hold space and continue the conversation. We've got about 3 more minutes, but go ahead, Aunt Margie.
Thank you, Beth. I was just going to say for the women who have tuned in, there are 9 PFLAG chapters in your area. And if they would like to find a place to go and just talk or sit and be part of a group that is the most welcoming, affirming group, just Google or go to pflag.org. And the first thing that pops up on the top of the screen is find a chapter. You click on that, and every chapter in your area, when you say where you are, pops up.
Right. Well, and I have so much respect for Christy, your daughter. And, when I came out a few years before her, she was really angry with me. I don't know if you guys know this, but she was really angry with me that I was not supportive of her. I didn't come out to her. And my fear as an older cousin was that I might have been seen as turning her gay. And so, ridiculous, but I was, a young buck and I was scared and I didn't want to destroy our family. And that's one of my greatest regrets is that I was not there for Christy. And I have so much awe of her. When I did my master's degree at Vanderbilt University, I did it on valuing diversity. There was no way 2 women would be house parents. There's no way 2 women would have been house parents. And the fact that they've been house parents at Vanderbilt University for however many years, how long did they live there as house parents?
About 8 or 9.
It's amazing. It's incredible. And the fact that they're there and they're both doctoral, they both have their doctorate and they running businesses, and they're just 2 incredibly powerful women with a daughter that's absolutely adorable and about to. What's that?
Our granddaughter is way above average.
Way above average. Exactly. And I mean, I'm in awe. Like, I hightailed it to California because I would be just too scared to death to live in Tennessee. So I do watch them a lot, and I'm like, wow, how do they do it? And when I hear some of the stories that you guys tell from PFLAG, it just affirms that I am so glad I'm here, and I do want to be a part of bridging the gap. So, Tony, I'm going to let it come back to you. What's your takeaway from this forum, and what do you think that we should do in the future to keep this conversation going?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, I was hearing what you were saying, and the thing that sort of strikes me is that it shouldn't be amazing in this day and age. It shouldn't be amazing for LGBTQ people to be able to accomplish what we accomplish. It shouldn't be amazing. It should be the norm.
Right.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So I want to put that out there because, at the end of the day, we're all just people. We're all just people trying to get through our days, trying to love who we love, try to stay out of each other's business and out of each other's way, but, trying to build community. If we can remember that, I think this would be a better world. If we can remember that I'm not trying to get in your marriage or anyone else's marriage or relationship, don't get in mine, right? We'd all be a hell of a lot happier. That's number one. Number two, as you know, I've got a new series, or not a new series, but a new virtual workshop that I'm doing for the LGBT community because of that little incident that I had. It sort of put me in a mindset that I need to do more. Here's what I would say to people. If you have an experience where you or someone that you know is sort of going through it, don't sit on the sidelines. Do even a little bit. You've got to do whatever is comfortable for you. Do something like speak at a B flag or donate your time to an LGBTQ center. There are gay and lesbian centers all over the world. Donate your time. The LGBTQ youth community really needs the support. And so if you can do that just a little bit, that would be helpful. One of the things that I did years ago, and a lot of people don't know this, is that I produced a series of independent films, and one of them was called The Mode Diaries. It was about on gay marriage. It was right before the Supreme Court allowed gays to get married. It came out in 2008. Anything you can do to support the LGBT community, listening, supporting, showing up, that would be helpful.
Love it. I love it. Tony, you are the man. What you have accomplished and all that you are putting into the world, I'm really, really grateful. Would love for you to come back and be a part of these and listen in and add your 2 cents as the time goes on. And Santana, would you like to have a word as we're wrapping this up?
I would, but my connectivity seems to be fading in and out, so I don't want to waste anybody's time, but thank you for the space.
Okay. All right. And Cleo, would you like to have a word out?
Yes. I was listening to the 2 women that have an amazing daughter. I did my master's dissertation on parenting and gay and lesbians being better parents than the quote unquote normal, So I truly believe that because of their own struggles, they grow up to be stronger. And they grow up to just soar and be able to be different because they're seen as different because you have 2 dads, you have 2 moms. So I was really intrigued by that, and to hear you just, again, it just warms my heart, and that it's beautiful, and that I see it with my children. They have 2 uncles that are their dads. And my kids are growing in an environment where they are being supportive of friends that are coming out and have been there. You know what? It's okay. Guess what? I live for them to be able to share that. It just makes them stronger people. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that as well.
One of my favorite stories that Cleo told me of one of her sons, we said we were going to be doing this forum, and her son said, why are we even talking about this? Like, why is this even an issue that's so far from where their minds are? So they couldn't even see it that way. Erica, do you want to have a last word, or are you complete?
Yeah, hi. I have arrived, and you know, you're all tellable people. Like, you have opened the door in all the ways that you have, and now more and more people, you're making the world safe for all these people that you're in front of every day, and just rock on. I really appreciate everybody sharing and your stories, and you know, there's so much fear and crap going on. We need you to keep going and to spread the love, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Erica's right outside my door. We're gonna go for a bike ride. Aunt Margie and Uncle John, what would you like to add as your last words? And will you guys come back next week and get into some more detail on talking about parents?
Tony was trying to say one other thing.
Go ahead, Tony.
Oh, really quickly, the only thing I was, thank you. The only thing I was saying is I would use the word unique instead of, you know, different. I mean, if you're a part of the community, you already feel different. What you want is to feel unique. You don't want to feel separate. You want to feel a part, you know, a part of the community, a part of the grand community, not just the LGBT community. So,
right,
just mindset. You know, we've all got to sort of keep that in mind. That's all.
I love it, Tony. I love that you're expanding on both sides of this, like normalizing it and making sure that we still deal with and address the issues that are still present and still happening, while at the same time normalizing and making it even bigger and better and more normalized. I got it. So Aunt Margie and Uncle John, last words?
Love is love is love is love.
Love it. Love it. Uncle John, wrap it up, man.
Maybe we could bring our granddaughter on next time for show and tell.
I would love for you to do that. I would love to see my cousins and have them be a part of this, because they are absolutely amazing. Let's see if we can make that happen.
Someone, and the person said, I guess she is so smart. She has two mothers.
That's right.
And they are two fabulous mamas too. Fabulous moms. Just to brag on Christy. Christy had women's boxing. She single-handedly is responsible for women's boxing being in the Olympics. And Shalene is fluent in Spanish and teaches Spanish everywhere. And I mean, both of them are just absolutely amazing. How many languages does Ella speak?
3, I think. 3.
Some
4.
we don't understand.
Yeah, so an amazing family. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much for coming, for being a part, being proud, standing in your power, and keep coming back, and let's keep this conversation going. Lots of love.
All right.
Lots of love to everyone. Take great care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
You do that.